On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. We do have an issue, it seems, where Putin is going to finish off this battle, this war. He is going to create that buffer zone. He is going to set things up where there is going to be unquestionably no Ukraine within the parts that need to stay Russian as far as he's concerned. And then I think at that point he's going to be willing to do a ceasefire. Depending how things play out over that period of time, I think we're likely going to see some more heavy attacks. And certainly, Germany talking the way they are about how they're going to take the limits off and allow Ukraine to use longer-range weapons into the heart of Russia is an escalation by the West. This entire fiasco in the Ukraine is because of the West. This is 100% our fault. 100%. We have been encroaching NATO constantly, and then we overthrew their government and put in a pro-Western government that absolutely hates Russia. And because of that, started attacking their own people, or their own people started fighting with them, however you want to look at it. This isn't going to play out the way the deep state wants it to. We're also seeing Trump kind of step back from Iran and Israel as well. And again, Trump's working directly with Iran, and in the case of Russia-Ukraine, he's working directly with Russia. He's sort of talking to Ukraine, but ultimately, who cares, right? So we got some news on that. We've got a lot of other news. I did want to talk about the music show I've got coming up this Friday. It's going to be kind of fun. I grabbed 3 of some of my favorite albums. It's not my 3 most favorite, though I would arguably put at least one of those in the top 3 for sure, maybe even 2 of them. But it's 3 of my favorite albums. I'm going to play 5 songs off of each. We've got Rumors, Fleetwood Mac's going to be in there. Also going to be doing Momentary Lapse of Reason by Pink Floyd. And a very weird one that maybe some of you aren't familiar with, and it's truly, I don't know, Dave Matthews Band's one of my favorite bands, and he's got a number of albums I actually like very much. Not to mention some of his compilations, but we're going to be doing his Gru Grux King album, 5 songs off of that. Should be a lot of fun. If you guys aren't familiar with any of those albums, well, you will be after we get done, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys join us, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. Also, that'll be Friday. And Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, we do the Law of One series, essentially trying to help teach, learn, if you will. I don't know, the way I kind of like to look at it is more of a universal or galactic religion rather than necessarily an Earth-based one. I know, sound kind of crazy, but it is kind of in the woo, and it definitely is, I think, some of the best channeled material that's been done. And it's rather old, by the way. It was done back in the 80s. So it's good stuff. We're doing that again Thursday. You don't have to necessarily enjoy it, but if you do, you'll probably learn a bunch of stuff. All right, starting everything off. And this is kind of a funny post here, but we got high temps. Other factors triggered widespread outages in New Orleans area, Nolans, as they would say. We're not even in summer yet, folks. And we're already having places, a lot of these greener places, if you will. I know Nolans tries to be like that. They're going to have a hard time. I think much is going to happen this summer. I think one thing to keep in mind, too, and they know this, summer's brutal when it gets hot, right? It's dangerous, but one thing that also happens is people tend to get a little more excitable, right? They are more willing to go outside and do crazy things because it's warmer. Be interesting, they shut off the power in certain cities, how that tends to affect violence. They know it. It happens. Again, how this summer plays out, again, just be prepared. There's a lot of weird ways that they could spread some hatred. So, again, just be prepared. Don't know how they're going to come at us. It seems like the race war is the one they're pushing really hard, but I don't know if they're actually getting enough gusto on that yet. But, again, not going to short sell them. They definitely know how to just grab some random MK Ultra, some random cop, and have them just shoot some black person. Done right there. So we'll see what happens. Interesting, Real Clear Politics posted this. They have obtained exclusive video, apparently of a fight. 2 women's Secret Service uniform division outside of Obama's house. And apparently, I don't know, one of the ladies said something to the effect, you better get this chick out of here or else or something. But, there's a little bit of a... obviously she's the tougher of the two. Not a whole lot of question there on that one, is it? But yeah, she says, officer called for a supervisor to come down. I whooped this girl's ass. It looked like an ass whooping was definitely about to happen. Fox News reported this. San Diego migrant processing facility is, being shut down. They don't got enough illegals coming through. We're literally shutting down facilities. That's awesome.
The border is closed, and it's kind of remarkable to think about. If any president had accomplished what President Trump has accomplished at the border, you could just sort of go home. Of course, that's not the case with President Trump. He's still working. This is what the chief patrol agent in the San Diego sector wrote. Due to the unprecedented decrease in illegal crossings this year, the massive 1,000-person San Diego sector soft-sided facility has been dismantled. In 2025, San Diego sector arrested 1,199 illegal aliens with an average of 38 per day. This was a 186% drop compared to March of 2024.
How great is that when you see the video of them shutting down the facility where it used to be packed with migrants under Joe Biden, and now under Donald Trump, only 38 a day. So his efforts are working from day one. And ICE is still doing the work, Lawrence. They're still arresting people over the Memorial Day weekend.
You know, I think it was probably one of his famous lines in one of the speeches that he gave. He goes, we didn't need new legislation. We just needed a new president. And it's true, because there's no new laws concerning the border that's been passed. It's just the president and his administration enforcing the law.
Yeah, it's funny what happens when you actually enforce the laws, right? It's crazy. Whoever thought that would happen? Social Security has removed from its rolls 12.3 million individuals. We did talk about this yesterday, but this kind of broke it down in a cool way. And it made me think about how many votes aren't happening. I would love to know how many of these Social Security numbers actually show up in voter registration. Certainly, I wonder how many of these actually actively voted in the last election. I would very, very much love to see that cross-referenced. I'm sure they're going to. There's a lot of things they're going to look into, as we understand. But there was a lot of discrepancies, obviously, in the Social Security figures. Again, we talked about this before. 12.3 million individuals that were definitely shouldn't be getting benefits. And even if you assume just $1,000 per person, which is probably a fair estimate, I don't know what it actually is. I think it's over that, at least out here. I don't know if it differs state to state, so I don't even know. I don't know anything about that, really. I have some friends that are on it, and I know there's this benefit to waiting longer and yada, yada, yada. 12.3 million just at $1,000 a month, which it's more than that, is $12.3 billion a month of money being drained from the Social Security system. You know, the one that keeps saying is not viable, it's not going to last, and we're just draining $12.3 billion going to who knows who. So again, no votes coming from these people, or at least they shouldn't be, because now they're considered deceased. So when we find out we've got deceased people on voter rolls, we can remove them as well. A lot of cleaning up is happening. We're seeing it happen. Former Biden aide admits staff felt justified doing undemocratic things to stop this existential threat to democracy. So they did undemocratic things to stop this threat to democracy. I just can't help but appreciate the irony of that. We are going to do undemocratic things because we know that you're undemocratic. So we're going to undemocratic more than you, and then thusly stop you. Try that on for size. It's just insanity to me. Absolute insanity. But this is how this side feels. The people that are programmed, the people that are asleep, and we've got some of them, by the way, on our side. Most of you guys don't realize that. And heck, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some people in my audience that are still asleep. They just happen to be Republicans. Again, just because you got an R doesn't mean you're awake. Just because you got a D doesn't mean you're asleep. There's definitely overlap. This is, a lot of things coming out. Undemocratic, people willing to do anything to stop what they see, and rightly so. It's truly what's happening. I mean, we are destroying their world. We are. Their world, they've been building it up. It's a house of cards. It was never going to stand anyways, but they've been building this world up. They've been doing all of this infrastructure, trying to brainwash us in every step of the way. Fuck, they even took over Star Wars and effed that whole movie up. Right? Like, come on. It's disgusting. They remade Karate Kid. Like, it just blew my mind when they did it. And I'm like, that's the exact same words they used in the first movie. It's like, did you guys just copy the script over? And be like, all right, we're going to, one, obviously Daniel's got to be black. I mean, right? It's just insanity. The Democratic Party's death spiral, well, it's worse than most people even thought. A lot of people are seeing a huge issue with the Democrat Party. They're not doing anything different. In fact, what I really am seeing is you've got the majority of the Democrat Party, who's, I would say, moderate, liberal type left people, but not hardcore progressive left. Like, they're uncomfortable with some of the stuff that's happening in their party. And then you've got this very small percentage. And I would actually say it's probably about 10%. I would honestly say it's about 10% of the total population is part of this ultra crazy liberal progressive party that is socialist, Marxist, all the above. I see them running with Bernie Sanders and AOC and probably Gavin Newsom, though that's not really his party, but him being what he is, what else is he going to do? Because he's got no chance on his own. Maybe he's the one that tries to run. I think they're talking Rahm Emanuel is what old folk Nancy Pelosi's talking. Whatever the case is, Democrats' old playbook is dead, and they know it. Their own pollster, Ben Tolchin, admitted the math doesn't work anymore. While they're stuck pandering to wealthy urbanites and pushing radical policies that normal Americans reject, Trump MAGA coalition keeps growing stronger, and that is really what we're seeing. It is the elite. It is the wealthy. It is the Hollywood. It is the professors. These are the people that are the Democrat Party. And all of us that we used to pretend they cared about, we realize they don't. And we're realizing they are the elite. They are the oligarchy. And so, yeah, we get it, but they're starting to see it too. Trump admin seeks to cut $100 million more in federal contracts with Harvard. They're literally trying to cut everything. Anything that they spend at all with Harvard, he's like, I'm done. We're not giving them a dime. I think it's up close to about $3 billion that they've lost in funding. If you think about it from the standpoint of a college, whoever's in charge of that college right now is screwed. They literally just lost $3 billion of funding. And it ain't coming back. Trump's talking about making it permanent. Trump administration will request federal agencies to cut off their contracts with Harvard University in response to what it says is the school's handling of anti-Semitism and diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. The administration has already canceled around $2.6 billion in federal grants after the university declined to accede to a list of government demands to change policies. They have not done that. There are 30 federal contracts worth about $100 million as well, according to the General Services Administration. This letter to the agencies is scheduled to be sent May 27th, which would be today. Effing clown would be an understatement in this case. Democratic lawmaker blasted for calling Ashley Babbitt a domestic terrorist. This dude, Rep. Maxwell Frost, Democrat from Florida, of all places. You guys better be able to switch that seat. Again, Florida and Texas, you guys got a lot of reputation. You're doing a lot of good stuff, but you guys are also very heavily riddled with cancer as well, right? A lot of us are just fully riddled with cancer, so it's obvious that we're cancered up. You guys, and I'm using that in the terminology of being infected by an invading species, a.k.a. the Democrats, or this Marxist thing. But he posted, Ashley Babbitt was a domestic terrorist who attempted to overthrow our government via a violent insurrection at our nation's capital. The administration agreeing to pay her family $5 million of taxpayer money is disgraceful. It's funny, the money that they're okay with us wasting, it on, right? Like diversity, equity. We can waste it on abortions. We can do all sorts of great stuff, right? We can kill people that way. That's fine. But, illegally shooting somebody who was unarmed, at least best we could see. She had a backpack on, so who knows? There's a lot of speculation around what happened, even much speculation as to whether or not she was even injured. I remember, you guys remember the videos going around that was showing like the blood and the way that they were handing her. The whole thing was just strange. Every aspect of what happened on January 6th. I don't know if we'll ever figure it out, frankly. I doubt it, because it seems like for the most part we've kind of stopped looking. Trump threatens to cut California's federal funds if trans athletes illegally compete in women's events. There was a sports event recently, and because of it, this individual, transgender or dude, frankly, was competing in women's sports, and because he won every single event, he's now qualified for the state, going against all the girls in the state. Donald Trump Truth California, under the leadership of radical left Democrat Gavin Newsom, continues to illegally allow men to play in women's sports. This week, a transitioned male athlete at a major event won everything and is now qualified to compete in the state finals next weekend. As a male, he was a less than average competitor. As a female, this transitioned person is practically unbeatable. This is not fair and totally demeaning to women and girls. Please be hereby advised that large-scale federal funding will be held back, maybe permanently, if the executive order on this subject matter is not adhered to. The governor himself said it is unfair. I will speak to him today to find out which way he wants to go. In the meantime, I am ordering local authorities, if necessary, to not allow the transitioned person to compete in the state finals. This is totally ridiculous situation. 100% agree. Caitlin Clark, I was just talking about this yesterday. I didn't realize she actually injured herself. She has a quad injury. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just tripping. I was looking at the news this morning and like, holy shit, I was just talking about that yesterday. So, needless to say, whether I manifested this or not, sorry, Caitlin. I hope you're okay, sweetheart. I'm glad, though, to a degree, because this is going to decimate WNBA. It's going to be fantastic. How many people were actually starting to watch? One, because they loved the rivalry of this white girl against all the black girls in all the teams, right? All the black girls hate this one white girl. They had this racism thing going. It was doing this awesome thing. It was causing problems. They loved it. Getting all these ratings. People were actually finally watching WNBA. Yeah, not anymore. Not anymore. Not with her not playing. I'm telling you, I guarantee their viewership's going to drop, and I want to see the numbers. So I'm going to try to see if I can dig into this, or hopefully that'll pop up to me. I can't wait to see the numbers. It's going to be bad. It's going to be horrible, in fact. I want to remind you guys, MyPillow, they gave us a sweet deal, and I want to keep talking about it while they keep giving it to us. I don't know. I keep checking every day. I'm like, are they still giving it to us? They still are. They got two sweet deals, first off, but this one's unique to us, Steve Bannon's War Room, and some other show. Literally 3 shows were given this deal. It's because we're special. Mike Lindell, we've shown up on his radar. They like us. We're obviously MyPillow lovers. My audience, you guys, love this product. I do too. That's why I can't stop talking about it. Any purchase you get, you're going to get this awesome little roll and go pillow. It's like you can literally roll it up and shove it in a backpack or whatever. It's got these cool patriotic cover on it. It's the 2.0 pillow technology. It's a smaller pillow, but you're getting it free with anything. Then on top of that, if you actually manage to get up to $100, which is not hard to do, got a couple ways we can hit that, but you hit $100, you're going to get $100 in digital coupons. And word on the street is the digital coupons are actually pretty cool. So he's going to match your $100 with $100 back, and you're going to get the roll and go pillow. Now let's look at some of the crazy ass good stuff they've got going on. $9.99 dish towels. Their towels, all their towels, their beach towels, their bath towels. All of their towels are the nicest towels I've ever used. I've got the beach towels. I love them. They're actually really big. They're really big. I love the shower towels. In fact, the premium ones, they don't sell them, it seems like, anymore, or they hide them or whatever, but the premium ones are freaking awesome. They're even better. They are actually even better. It's actually a better towel. Whatever the case is, the regular ones are phenomenal, and then they just get better from there. But it actually absorbs. My favorite example to use is the shower door. I got a glass shower door. I got to squeegee it right, but right by the handle. It's just impossible, and it just drips down. It just looks bad, whatever. So I take my towel, one wipe, water's gone. It's not like other towels where it'll smear. It leaves behind that little smear line, and you hit it a second time. You can usually get it all the way. MyPillow, boom. Gone. Water's gone. Ladies, you wrap your hair in a towel, you're going to be bummed the first time you use a MyPillow because your hair is going to dry way faster than you're used to. Just the absorbency of them. It is like the equivalent of Bounty when it comes to a towel. They're freaking awesome. Rev 7's a new drink thing they've got. You can get a free 3-pack. All you got to do is pay for shipping, or you can actually start like I do and get serious about ordering them. You can get 12 packs. I actually like the lemonade and the blueberry. I got one of each, and they're delicious. I like to drink them before I go to the gym, mainly when I try to kind of do some like a heavy chest day or something like that. I'm going to try to little extra energy. There's no sugar, 10 milligrams of salt, so they're actually surprisingly good. And as far as energy, it's not caffeine. It's not addictive. I forget, it's like BOO, GO, I forget what it's called, but it's the chemical that your body creates when it needs energy and you don't have any food in your system. So it chemically basically starts to burn fat, and it creates energy doing that. Well, this is actually that form of energy, so your body actually burns it very easily, and it kind of has fewer problems, if you will. Also got the Micros, this big deal. Mike Lindell wears this. There's 2 different versions of it. There is a black inner with the silver outer. There's also a white inner with like a black outer. They're all sterling silver. There's a men's and women's size. They're very, very cool stuff. 2 best deals, 2 probably right now, are the sheets. They got a big box store thing. They got too many of them. So Giza sheets, which is really their high thread count, really nice quality sheet. Like this is the one you put in the master bedroom. Okay. $49.98, any size, $49.98. Boom. Any size, any color, while supplies last. But that is an excellent deal. And then, for the other rooms or kids, you got percale sheets. Slightly stepped down as far as sheet quality, but $29.98, any size. This is the perfect sheets to get for your kids' rooms or everything else. Go to mypillow.com/OTF. That's mypillow.com/OTF. I was thinking at the same time how, obviously, if you love your pet, your dog, you should have a nice MyPillow for your dog. I mean, come on, let's just be honest. $40, and you're gonna go ahead and be like, all right, little loved one is gonna be like, what are you doing, Mom? You'd be like, I'm giving you another pillow, and you're going to love this. And they do. The second they get on it, they're like, oh, this is nice. This is very nice. They'll say that in their own little way. Maybe they'll express themselves less on the carpet. Someone was telling me a weird anal gland story the other day. It's funny how people sometimes share things that you're like, why did you share that with me? It's very strange. mypillow.com/OTF. That's mypillow.com/OTF. Get this free roll and go pillow on top of getting the best night of sleep you've ever had. I'm telling you, mypillow.com/OTF. Boom. Notorious cartel leader and fentanyl trafficker. This dude's been offed. There was a reward on him. He is no longer alive.
Humberto Figueroa Benitez, known as El Peris, was killed during a Mexican government raid. He was part of the Los Chapitos faction of the Sinaloa cartel, accused of trafficking fentanyl into the U.S. The U.S. had offered up to $1 million for his capture. He faced charges including drug trafficking, money laundering, and weapons possession.
Yeah, so he was kind of a bad guy, basically. Harvard Kennedy School could lose 60% of their students under this new international ban that they're talking about doing. There's a judge that has stopped this for now, but that won't last. That won't be able to keep going. And Harvard not following the rules of the administration, just pure and simple. Also doing anti-Semitic stuff like they are. It's going to be really hard for them to really win this case. We'll see how it plays out, but 60% of their students could likely end up falling out of that. That's also interesting. I want to remind all you guys, archive.today, it's a funny little thing. Certain websites make things difficult when it comes to viewing them. Some allow us to get out of this, right? So let's see if I can pass this test. These are all, oh, cool. Right? Look at that. You can see the whole thing. The only way the smart ones are the ones that actually force you to click into something and it opens up a fresh window. Those, they keep you from it. And good on them. But needless to say, Trump team pauses new student visa interviews as it weighs expanding social media vetting. They're now actually going to look at the social media accounts of the students that are coming. And if they've got a whole bunch of anti-America stuff or a whole bunch of anti-Israel stuff or a whole bunch of nonsense, they're not coming into this country. We're finally doing something about allowing a bunch of shit people to come in here. Finally. No longer bring us the shittiest people that hate our country the most. Now it's like, bring people that want to be part of something amazing. Bring them. We want all of you guys. We want you legally to come here. We also want you to be a part of this great nation and hopefully become citizens. Would be the ideal. But we want you guys to help with the bigger picture. Star Harvard business professor has been stripped of tenure. He's fired for manipulating data in studies on dishonesty, of all things. 4 different studies that this professor was actually altering the data on because it didn't bode well for their thesis. So they changed the data to make it look more appropriate for their thesis. This is a Harvard professor. Yeah, they've been stripped of tenure and everything else. This was bad news for them. Francesca Gino, celebrated behavioral scientist at Harvard Business School, was let go after the school's top governing board determined she tweaked observations in 4 studies so that their findings boosted her hypothesis. Pretty much what I said. Department of Education ends extremely lawless handouts to illegal immigrants. These are the college students, especially here in California. So a visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation praised the U.S. Department of Education's decision to revoke waivers from California and Oregon universities, which allowed them to use federal education funds to assist illegal immigrant college students. The purpose of the Performance Partnership Pilots for Disconnected Youth programs is to help students with disabilities and low-income students obtain a college education. However, the Biden administration allowed universities in California and Oregon to divert the funds to illegal immigrants, according to department news releases. Under the previous administration, TRIO programs could extend benefits to illegal aliens. California, Oregon, Washington State, Massachusetts, whole bunch of states, Maine, whole bunch of states are screwed because they've been utilizing a lot of this fake crap money and being rewarded for it, and that has now been stopped. And they've still got the problem because in a lot of cases, they're still sanctuary cities. They're screwed. They eventually are going to have to turn it a different direction. A Los Angeles County woman who served on a presidential advisory committee under the Biden administration and has an extensive history of donating to Democrats. She reached a plea agreement with the Department of Justice for making tens of thousands of dollars in illegal campaign contributions to reportedly secure a seat on the Kennedy Center Board of Trustees, of all places. You know that thing that Rick Grinnell is now in charge of and Trump took over from these people? This lady was donating gobs of money illegally, trying to buy herself a seat on apparently that prestigious board. Must be, or you must get some pretty interesting stuff or be able to, I don't understand why you'd want to be on there, but yeah, whatever the case is, a very Democrat individual. That's for shiz. Multipolar world update. Many people are wondering about Europe. Europe's in an interesting place. Obviously, Trump has to work out an agreement with us, and we'll see how that plays out. They're trying to make meetings with him happen. We've got a major gas deal between the UAE's XRG and Malaysia's Petronas in Turkmenistan. It's highlighting the deepening BRICS-centered cooperation in Central Asia. We've got a lot of these people that are working against the system that we've created. Now, again, I've said before, I kind of think this is the alternate system. I think it's quite possibly the new system that we're ultimately maybe going to end up in. We'll see how it all plays out, but ultimately the deep state manipulation, the central bank scam, all that stuff has to end, and that really is the system that we're currently a part of. That's why a lot of people are talking about, value of the dollars and how we're going to get off into actual American money versus this fake money, fiat money. Precious metals is what a lot of the experts are talking about for sure. Iran and China, they've launched a new commercial railway, so now they're shipping oil and other stuff via rail, and they're just bypassing any blockades that the United States could possibly try to do, making it basically impossible for us, well, not impossible, more difficult for us to enforce our control of Iran. A lot of this Iran stuff is seems to be going in a weird direction. Now, we're being told everything's groovy, and we'll get there at some point. But I just have a funny feeling that's, if Iran's happy about the deal, it's a crap deal, then probably. So I'm not sure what Trump's going to be able to pull off on this. I'm very, very curious to see, because I think Trump is the ultimate deal maker. He's a rock star when it comes to that. And he's got pretty powerful military behind him, basically saying, look, do what we say or else we could make some certain things painful for you, and we will. World's 75 poorest countries owe China $22 billion this year. Think about that. So China's got a huge chunk of countries in this world indebted to them. One of the things that was ultimately supposed to happen with us. Now, China financially is in a very tough place right now. They are not in a good place. Nothing about what's happening in their country is good. They've supposedly taken big hits from COVID. There's supposedly a new version of COVID running through right now. They're trying to get us scared about it. The Daily Mail put out a story that's like, oh, no, it's coming to America. It's like, whatever. Europe, it's funny is since I stopped talking about it, I know it's not just me, I'm sure others of us, but since I stopped talking about it, like there's not been one outbreak at all. Like we've stopped. We've just literally said, we're not going to promote this. We're not going to allow you to fear people into getting more shots. It's just not happening. Europe is toxic for investors, and the EU Commission is, it's talking about why. It's not just a tech story. This is a capital flight story. Private investment in the EU has stagnated. According to Eurostat, inward foreign direct investment flows into the EU. They were about 49.5 billion euros in 2021, with significant fluctuations in subsequent years. Meanwhile, venture capital funding for European startups fell sharply. Crunchbase reports that funding to European startups reached 52 billion euros, I assume, in 2023, down 39% year over year from the 86 billion invested in 2022. Additionally, Dealroom.co notes that European startups raised 63 billion in 2023, also down 37%. So nobody really wants to invest in Europe. And part of this, I think this story talks about Apple and how Apple and a couple other countries are being sued. Apple got sued for 500 million euros. That's a crap ton of money for a very difficult rule. Apple supposedly tried very hard to follow it, sent a bunch of information saying, hey, are we in compliance? They wouldn't respond back, the European Union, and then they turn around and fine them, which many think they were always going to do anyways. I think it's a money grab. I totally think that's what this is about. Europe is broke badly, especially the European Union is broke, and they can't really demonstrate how broke they are because then the countries that are paying them money are like, what are you doing with the billions of dollars we're giving you currently? So their deep state system is having a huge problem, and Europe is going to crumble. It is crumbling. It is in a bad, bad place. And any of the G7 nations that don't pull their heads out of their asses collectively are screwed. EU leaders push for quick trade deal with Trump to avert the tariff war. They can't afford this. July 9th is when this new tariff's going to kick in if they don't make a deal. And they've got to make a deal, which means they've got to allow us into their markets, which they've never done. Never. Europe is, they're screwed. Because we're now finally going to be able to compete against some of their crap. And if we're finally going to actually play an interesting role in Europe, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. I was also thinking about there's a Chinese car company. I don't know where that story is. They're selling their cars for like nothing. They were able to sell those here. My God, it's just kind of funny. I don't think they're going to probably be that good. They probably suck, actually. But they're cheap when you compare them to like a Tesla. Yeah, here it is. Nice. BYD, I guess, is the name of this car company. They sell their car, the Seagull hatchback. I think it's all electric or it's a hybrid or something like that. It's a hybrid, I'm sorry. Well, electric and hybrids. I got two different models here going on. The Seagull hatchback, it was reduced 20% to 55,800 yuan, which is about $7,700 US. Think about that. While the Seal dual motor hybrid sedan, now the steepest cut, down 34%. It is, I think it's down, I don't know if it's down to 53,000 yuan or if it's whatever, it's down 53,000 yuan and now the price is 102. I don't know. But still, it's basically double what this is. So $14,000, $15,000 for like their nicest model. This is the one that's basically competing heavily against Tesla. Again, my doubt is that it's probably not that good as far as long term. They might catch fire. Who knows? Who knows what other crazy problems they've got. But it is interesting how cheap they are. So they're flooding the market, and the point of the article too, they're dropping the prices because nobody's buying them. That's the funny part. Because of the EU movement of the deadline, Stocks went up. They were going to go way down because of the deadline, or I think they did. Now they're going way up. Again, the stock market is so full of shit right now, folks. So again, while it's still up, I would just protect wealth. That's one of the key things you want to consider doing. Gold's down a little bit today. It's still at the 303 mark. It actually broke. It was, I think, down below. Yeah, it was, still pretty good. 33.05. It's getting up and down, fluctuating. Just means the dollar's kind of hanging tight. Stock market's obviously doing very well, up basically 2% on average. Trump says $9 trillion of investments being injected in the U.S. economy over the coming years. This is going to help. Again, this is a transition into a new economy. How smoothly this goes is very up in the air. That's the questioning part. That's why I highly recommend you protect your wealth. Get as much of it out of that system that you can. You put it into precious metals, which everyone's saying is going to be one of the assets that's going to back our new currency. You're going from their system into a precious metal system that locks in your value. That's one thing that precious metals just do. They hold value. They're saying the amount of gold it costs to get a suit, well, silver we'll use, the amount of silver it costs to get a suit bought and tailored or whatever, tailored I think is the example they give, and the amount it would cost in silver today is the same. It seems to be holding its value. It's what it's supposed to do. So you're taking the value of the dollar that's kind of losing value at a regular basis right now, and you're locking it in at what the value of gold and silver is right now. On top of that, they're going to actually, Goldco is going to offer up some freebies for you, up to 10% free silver, so even some extra silver. But you can get out of that system, you can protect your wealth, and then once we get through all the bumps and lumps and everything crazy that happens, then you can convert into the new system, the new money, whatever it is, treasuries or something. It's going to, whatever, I don't know what they're going to call it, the Americas or the U.S. or something, who knows. Get out of their system while you still can. Get out of the system while it's still good. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Let my good friends, Goldco, help you through this process. There are many, many, many loops that you've got to jump through. They're going to do all the hard work for you. You just got to sign stuff. That's the hardest part. And they let you do that, DocuSign and all sorts of things like that. So it's very awesome. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Again, up to 10% of your face value of your 401k or IRA, free silver. Possible half-ounce free silver Ronald Reagan coin. A lot of people get this. I know that. Right? So put in your 4 data points, click the button, call. There's a timer. If you call within the time, within 20 minutes or something like that, it works out a lot better. You don't have to, but it is a good way to go about it. You're going to get a free Trump book. You're going to get your wealth protection kit, your gold and silver kit. You're going to get their insanely good customer service, as I quote down here. It truly is. I loved their customer service. My experience with them when I bought precious metals was awesome. It was fantastic. You can do that with them, too. You can also buy precious metals. Got some cash you want to convert into some precious metals? 4 data points. Hit them up. They'll work it out with you. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Again, get out of that system while you can. Tax-free, penalty-free, and it's actually physical metal. It's not paper contracts or anything stupid like that. It's physical metals put in a trust. That's how they do it, tax-free, penalty-free. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of that system before they get out of you. Teaching or treason? We've got this Fed economist dude. Apparently was spying for Beijing for quite some time. He got arrested back in January for doing this. Now, it is interesting that he got arrested before Trump even came into office. Part of me is wondering about that. Maybe they wanted to catch him and get to him before we had a chance to, or maybe this was just a legitimate thing, and they're like, dude, we got to stop this. This guy's super bad. Whatever the case is, he is toast. He was giving away all sorts of information, calling it teaching, calling it working with the students, and yada, yada. So not cool. Chinese hackers breach software tied to U.S. critical infrastructure. They don't say what infrastructure, do they? I don't know if this is this. I know the solar they've been able to. This is probably looks like gas or water. It looks like water for sure. And this is cooling tower for something. Maybe energy. Possibly, I don't know, cleaning of the water. Yeah, recently breached key software. There's been a lot of stuff. I think through Huawei, through the Cisco routers, which I think was the original point of this story, was Cisco was kind of tied into that. So again, a lot of questionable stuff is in the Chinese hardware, and we use this stuff all over the place. Use it for the military, for that matter. SCOTUS asked to decide challenge to Illinois' post-election ballot counts and challenges to state law. We'll see if they actually intervene in this particular case. It has to do with a rep. He tried to sue. They say he didn't have legal standing, and this has to do with counting the ballots for an additional 14 days. He says if they're still counting ballots for 14 days, he still feels that he has to spend money to kind of try to get out in front of people, run commercials, stuff like that. So he feels it does actually cost him money. And because of that, he believes he should have standing. So that is kind of what's actually in front of the Supreme Court, is whether or not this dude has a reason to have standing. In which case, I think this is getting back to the 14-day mail-in ballot receipt deadline, which is pretty ridiculous. Again, people can send these. They don't have a postmark on there, I don't think. At least I haven't seen anything that states anything like that in here. So whatever. We'll see if they actually pick it up. You never know with the Supreme Court. This popped up today, and I thought this was interesting. I don't know if you guys have heard or remember. I want to say this about a week ago, a little over a week ago maybe. 10 people escaped from a New Orleans jail. Well, they've caught all but 2 of them, I guess. They recaptured 3 more recently, so there's only 2 of the 10 that still remain out running around. So that's kind of good, I guess. Almost got them all back. NPR sues Trump over order cutting federal funding. Again, I just think it's funny. I think there's also some radio station in Colorado or something crazy that's filing the suit as well with them. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to have a lot of standing on this. I really don't. There's a lot of people that are saying, well, Congress says you have to spend this. Congress says we have to spend money for a specific thing. NPR might just get replaced. And having Carrie Lake and they're doing what she's doing, she could create a whole new public radio concept that isn't corrupted like NPR. So we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. The NPR and AP, just some of these things are just horrible, and they definitely should not be getting funding with all the damage they've done to this country over the time. CIA front, basically. House has passed the one big beautiful bill, and it apparently buried a tobacco tax. I only bring this up because a lot of people in my audience seem to be smokers, which is cool. I used to be a smoker. And I have love for smokers. I'll stand next to you while you smoke and enjoy the lovely fragrance, which is very backwards, I know, for people that stop smoking. Most of us become total tyrants, just dicks. I'm not. I'm very cool with it. I go and hang out with my friends when they go smoke. It's kind of fun. All said, some weird tax. It's kind of stupid in my opinion, but apparently if you buy like the filters and the paper from a foreign country, they were okay with it as long as you sold it to a foreign country back in the day. Apparently, this one big beautiful bill has removed that protection. So now they're going to get taxed or tariffed even possibly on this foreign-made product that they import in order to make cigarettes. There you go. I mean, it's kind of a stupid story, but whatever. People are making a deal of it. It's good science, they say. CDC stops recommending COVID vaccines for healthy kids and pregnant women. It's pretty brilliant. Check this out.
Hi, everybody. I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your HHS Secretary, and I'm here today with NIH Director Dr. Jay Bhattacharya and FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary. I couldn't be more pleased to announce that as of today, the COVID vaccine for healthy children and healthy pregnant women has been removed from the CDC recommended immunization schedule. Last year, the Biden administration urged healthy children to get yet another COVID shot despite the lack of any clinical data to support the repeat booster strategy in children.
That ends today. It's common sense and it's good science.
There's no evidence healthy kids need it today, and most countries have stopped recommending it for children.
We're now one step closer to realizing President Trump's promise to make America healthy again.
Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. We're making a lot of movement, folks. FDA approves Chinese non-opioid painkiller alternative to morphine that could reduce fentanyl overdoses. Curious if they're going to put fentanyl in it, by the way, which seems strange. I think it's called the Camzova. It is the first Chinese-developed non-opioid painkiller created by Nanjing-based biotech firm Dalova. Camzova is the world's first long-acting injectable analgesic. That's how you're supposed to say it. It's providing 24-hour pain relief with a single daily dose. I don't know. Supposedly it's testing out well, but again, it's made in China, right? How many of you guys want to put that in your body? But again, if you're addicted to painkillers, this might be something you can get. The FDA has approved it here in this country. So for some of you guys, you might want to try it if you've got extraordinary pain. One way to know for sure that we have infiltrated the Chinese culture with our Western ways, well, Chinese communists published their diet guidelines to help, the fat Chinese people. It's funny, there's this one Chinese girl I kind of watch on a YouTube channel, and she tries to teach people like me Chinese, which is extraordinarily difficult to learn how to pronounce and say. All said, she does a good job, but she did talk about how she bought clothes when she went back to China. She's a reasonably petite girl. From an American standpoint, she's very petite. From a Chinese standpoint, she's like an extra large. And she was tall age. She did a video talking about how the clothes sizes are crazy. So again, it's affecting them too, it would seem. I don't know if we've got McDonald's in China now, but one would assume that's the case. So they put out some nutritional standards. Whether or not that's going to help, we'll see. Step aside, Dr. Anthony Fauci. It sounds like the Sizzling commercials, right? Step aside, Sizzling, or Bacon. Got something meatier. You guys remember that? Anyway, whatever. Maybe that doesn't even exist anymore. Like what the Mandela effect stuff. Who knows? All said. Senior government public health official is in the crosshairs of the most aggressive COVID-19 investigator in Congress. Yes, Senator Ron Johnson. He is the chairman of the Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations. He's investigating, which is strange that he'd be investigating, being in the Subcommittee of Investigations. But he's investigating whether the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Tom Shimabukuro, scrubbed his own emails that lawmakers believe could reveal why the feds delayed telling doctors for months about heart inflammation risks from COVID vaccines. Someone's hiding their information. Now, everybody always says nothing is ever hidden, and you can't delete emails, and that's true. Most of them are still stored elsewhere. So it is always funny to me when they say they've deleted them. It's like, well, they probably aren't deleted, right? Whatever. If not, Space Force has them. I don't know, whatever the case is. We'll see. Who knows how it's actually going to work out. We've got more about how we're getting off of a lot of the big pharma stuff. Let's see, Jake Tapper, Anderson Cooper, and Lester Holt. Yeah, he's talking about how, and this is, again, he's talking about how many of these news stories, news companies, are all bought and paid for by pharma. They will never, ever report the news when it comes to pharma, the truth anyways, when it comes to pharma, because pharma owns them, and they won't let them do those stories, ever. And so the minute we finally make it illegal for pharmaceuticals to advertise on TV or anywhere for that matter, the second we take that away from them, that will be the destruction of Main Street media. And not us, because I don't think there's hardly any MAGA people that are taking money from pharma. So this is going to be bad for them, great for us.
All the major institutions of our society have been captured by the industry. The press now gets, the mainstream television networks. And Roger Ailes told me one time that 75% of his advertising revenues on the evening news divisions were pharmaceutical ads.
I believe that just by observation, just as a consumer.
I mean, you can watch it. You can brought to you by Pfizer.
Yeah. If you eliminate big food and pharma from I mean, just, if you watch the
bankrupt.
Super Bowl. Yeah.
So
it would have been Super Bowl ads.
Those companies are doing that partially because the evening news is very attractive to drug companies because young people don't watch news. It's all older people, and those are their customers. They're people who are taking all this whole, arsenal, this battery of drugs, but they also do it to control content. Yeah. That's why you see defense contractors advertising on, Good Morning America. Nobody's going to buy, a Tomahawk missile on who's watching Good Morning America. They advertise because they want to control the content. And if you look at, Anderson Cooper or, any of these, or Lester Holt or Jake Tapper, their salaries their paycheck is being paid by the network.
Right.
Their salaries are actually coming from pharmaceutical companies, and they know that.
Right.
And they know that they can't, that they got to toe the line, and they got to say, they got to frighten us all about infectious disease. They got to make us all do comply with the pharmaceutical mandates, and they're not giving us the real news. They're not asking the questions that they ought to be asking. There's no skepticism. And if you look at these news shows like 60 Minutes or even Anderson or Sanjay Gupta, from 20 years ago, they were saying, there's problems with this, with vaccines or these other drugs.
Right.
They will never do that today.
Yeah. We are fighting a major, major battle, but we are making some pretty solid progress. This was pretty interesting. Chat GPT reveals parasite cover-up in America. I'm going to read this, I guess, to you guys.
This is insane.
Because you have to read it otherwise. Part 1, the hidden epidemic. Parasites aren't just a third world issue. They're a silent epidemic in America. Contaminated water, undercooked meat, sushi, pets, soil, even produce. Yet the medical system doesn't screen for them unless you've been overseas. Why? Because if parasites were acknowledged as a root cause of chronic illness, the entire sick care system would collapse. Outdated testing equals false peace. School tests miss most parasites. Here's why. Parasites don't shed consistently. Some live in organs, not the gut, which is why they don't show up in feces. Labs only test for a tiny list of known species. Result? You're told everything looks normal. Well, parasites silently feed on your nutrients and dump their waste into your system. The symptoms they can't explain. Doctors can't explain why you have chronic fatigue, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, right? Bloating, or even food intolerances. Skin issues like eczema and psoriasis, migraines, autoimmune flares, anxiety, or depression. So they give you meds to mask the symptoms, but never talk about the real invaders. Follow the money. There's no profit in getting you parasite free, but endless prescriptions, specialists, and surgeries, well, that's a gold mine. Their system keeps you sick and calls it healthcare, which is obviously what we are smart enough to know other than. And finally, the last part, the truth is leaking out. More people are waking up, they're cleansing, they're detoxing, they're reclaiming their health, and realizing parasites were behind symptoms their doctors dismissed for years. Their system won't save you. You have to save yourself. And it really just comes down to getting some information and making sure you do the right thing. Just wanted to spend a moment on Parasite Cleanse, the wellness company. They've got an incredible way to do this. It's a 90-day program. 90 days of very reasonably high. And by the way, doctors are behind this. This is a prescription, okay? But you got 25 milligrams of Ivers and you've got 250 milligrams of mebendazole, two very, very known parasitic damagers. We understand a lot of the things that parasites are tied into, and I've been doing kind of a form of this cleanse myself as of late. In fact, I would say I'm on my 7th day right now. And I don't know, I'm kind of curious to hear from some of you guys. I actually felt some weirdness early on. That seems to be getting better. Wouldn't say I necessarily feel like I've got more energy yet. I'm not necessarily less or anything, but I'm actually noticing a difference. It's definitely affecting me in interesting ways. So a lot of things are, it's one of the eye thing ruptured too, by the way. That was my first day starting this too. So a lot of it is very interesting, but we have a way. You can go to TWC, the wellness company, twc.health/OTF, twc.health/OTF. You want to go to bestsellers, hit the ivermectin, mebendazole. This is the parasitic cleanse. 90-day supply. It is going to knock out All parasites in your bodies, whether they're in your organs, your guts, your intestines, wherever. They will be removed. It's a very powerful way to go about it. Highly recommend it. They've also got incredible supplements. They've got the Contagion Kit, I highly recommend, and a number of the other emergency kits. Please look at the stuff while you're on the site. But definitely, you want this ivermectin mebendazole. This will help you in a major way. Check it out. Go to twc.health/OTF. That's twc.health/OTF. Take matters into your own hands. They're not looking to keep you healthy. They're looking to keep you sick. The so-called Trump Ramaphosa ambush. I don't know. Everybody's tripping on this. Again, this guy was coming here. He thought he was going to be able to talk his way through Trump, get some of his U.S. aid money back, and it did not go well for him at all. In fact, he's kind of getting beaten up in the public, in the press. Well, our press, not their press. But this guy is, it's just funny. He's, I think it's not here, it's the next story, where we've got him actually saying this chant they do, kill the boer. Kill the boer. He says this is just a chant. It's just something we say when they say kill the boer, kill the farmer. Yeah, it's just, we're just saying words. It's not actually mean, is kind of what he's saying.
For us. And when it comes to the issues of arresting anyone for any slogan, that is a sovereign issue. It's not a matter where we need to be instructed by anyone that go and arrest this one. We are a very proud sovereign country that has its own laws, that has its own processes, and we take into account what the Constitutional Court also decided when it said that, that slogan, kill the boer, kill the farmer, is a liberation chant and slogan. And it's not meant to be a message that elicits or calls upon anyone to go and be killed. And that is what our court decided. So they will probably want to arrest people willingly.
So just to make it easier, he says kill the boer does not, this is what they decided, does not incite people to kill. No, kill the boer, kill the farmer. They decided that doesn't incite people to kill, even though I think there's 50 to 70 a year or something crazy like that are in fact killed. Yeah, this guy wasn't expecting Trump to be there, apparently. Iran issued surprisingly optimistic statement about the latest U.S. nuclear talks. This is the thing that kind of got me head scratching a little bit. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know. I don't believe it. If Iran's happy, then it sounds like something else weird's going on. The other side of this could directly relate to, and this is pissing off China, Russia, and North Korea, this Golden Dome that we're talking about putting into place. Everybody's pissed off about it, and they're saying it's actually going to create more danger, and to a degree it will. The other side of it is, as long as we don't do anything horrible, even though we were the first country to make nuclear weapons and then use them in anger, we're the only country that's known to have done it. I think they've been used a few times in smaller scale ways, but needless to say, we like to hold a giant moral stick and shake it at other people, but in reality, we're pretty big dicks, and so we need to really own a lot of that. That said, we're also one of the most technologically advanced countries on this planet, I think, at this time. China would be far behind us if they didn't steal a bunch of our technology, but yeah, you get your help how you get it. Multipolar world is happening. Stuff is moving. Things are changing. We'll see what goes on with Iran. I mean, ultimately, Iron Dome's going to kind of neutralize the playing field to a large extent. I think it's a lot further along than I think the Golden Dome, Trump admitting it, is acknowledging that it kind of already exists, is what I think he's doing. And I'm sure there'll be enhancements, but I would say from a large extent, it's a lot of the way there, I bet. Russia denies involvement in the arson at the properties linked to British Prime Minister Starmer. I hadn't seen this angle come because everything that had come out thus far suggested it was Ukraine. Again, trying to blame it on Russia. That's what Ukraine does. Not very well, I might add. They do a poor job at it. Again, I've got Ukrainian friends. I have love for the Ukrainian people. I do not like the deep state. I do not like the Nazis either, by the way. I don't know if any of my Ukrainian friends are. We never really got into their politics. I wasn't really aware of this crap back when I was working with them. I don't know if it was even a thing yet. Trump weighs more sanctions, abandoning peace process as Russia says deadly strikes are retaliation. More attacks happening. Ukraine's trying to do a lot. They're not actually making a lot of headway, it sounds like. I mean, really what everything sounds like from an optics standpoint right now is that Russia is winning. Russia is going to expand, it seems, into this buffer zone and create that buffer zone. That buffer zone will then make peace talks possible. But what's going to happen is Ukraine needs to demilitarize, and if they don't, then that's a reason to start attacking them again. They can't have Western weapons or Western troops in their facility, and they're not getting back the land that Russia is taking and is now, as far as Russia is concerned, part of Russia. Russia's already changed their maps, basically. So we'll see how this plays out. If Ukraine or Zelensky continues to, in my opinion, be stupid, then they are going to face nastiness. And Europe isn't going to be able to afford this war as much as they will take the limits off. First off, Germany, you better not, because that's going to get Russia fucking with you guys, and that's not going to be good. And right now, Germany's got a bunch of troops. I want to say in Poland or Netherlands or something. And it's really like what people are pointing out historically is the last time that Germans did this was World War II. Something to keep in mind when they put this many troops in another country. Didn't work out well for most of the world. So we are in a very interesting place. Is this the rest of the Nazis making an effort to enhance this war? I mean, again, folks, we're in a tricky part of this. We got Trump at the helm. We're stoked. What Putin's doing, don't know. I don't know. China, Xi, and Trump are pretty much running the show right now. I think England likes to think they are, but I honestly don't think anybody gives a shit what England thinks right now, frankly, at all. Yeah, so Germany deploys permanent troops to Lithuania. So neither of the two countries that I thought. Lithuania, whatever. It's on the tip of my brain. Yes, not happening. Well, it is happening. They're sending them there, but the war is not going to escalate. It's not going to be allowed to. NATO chief fears Trump-Zelensky conflict could derail their summit. Yeah, they're talking about trying to bring Ukraine into NATO. Not yet, but soon. We want to move towards that. That's already been told as a red line for Russia. And the West doesn't care. And there's no benefit to having Ukraine in NATO other than it would allow us a nuclear war. This is 100% what they're trying to do. This has nothing to do with stability in the region. That's horse shit. In fact, stability would be had by letting Russia control Ukraine, frankly. That would bring more stability than the other way around. The West is responsible for what happened in Ukraine. The West, even further back than that, was encroaching NATO when they signed a deal that they wouldn't, and they continued to do it. Every president except Trump, since the signing of that peace accord or whatever. Everyone's broken it. So this is all just a bunch of bullshit. And that is part of our awakening process, is realizing we aren't always the good guy. And in fact, sometimes we're assholes, and we need to stop doing that. We are a great country, the greatest country ever, but we are not free from sin. Not even close. And NATO, Europe, it's a fucking mess. Russia responds to the West's attempt at restrictions to the Baltic Sea. It says Western nations are de facto committing acts of piracy against vessels linked to Russia in the Black Sea. They're not even allowed to do that. That is most likely illegal from an international standpoint. So I think people that are shipping products for Russia are now literally being boarded within the Baltic Sea. That's going to probably from the world court standpoint, not going to go over well. Again, Donald Trump truthed out What Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia, and I mean really bad. He's playing with fire. I mean, yeah, I believe really bad, probably. This is a very strange post from Trump, or Truth. Kremlin says Trump is emotional after the U.S. leader criticizes Putin. Again, I don't know why this is playing out the way it is. Trump does, to me, seem to be a little slightly unhinged in regards to Putin, the attack, but Trump keeps ignoring Ukraine's attack, and too. Putin keeps saying we're just responding. Again, I know I sound like a Putin puppet. I just want the fighting to stop. I don't think Ukraine can win. I never thought it was a good idea. I feel like we're responsible to a large extent. I don't know how much of this is Trump just being able to try to do that optically, because it feels like it does that. But it just seems strange because he is like, I don't know, Putin, this isn't the same guy I know. Like this, like trying to act like this is some different individual. And maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe that's what he's telling us. This whole thing's weird. We know the deep state wants the war to continue. We know there are some things that need to get resolved, and then everything can stop, basically denazification from the standpoint of Russia. But, I mean, are any of us actually going to ever know when we're there? No. We won't know. Assume Putin will. Hopefully Trump will. Don't know. Driver rams his car into pedestrians at Liverpool football parade. Apparently a team won, and a guy on the losing side was very pissed off. 53-year-old man got very pissed, hopped in his car, decided to drive through the victory parade. This is not considered a terrorist act, and a lot of people would be like, huh? Really? It's not. This is just a freaking crazy footballer that got pissed off his team lost. This is just literally how they are with football. They are fucking crazy when it comes to this sport. We maybe get like that with basketball. I don't even think football. I don't know, maybe. Usually we don't burn down our own cities. There's been a couple examples of that happening. I see a lot of crazy shit, though, after, like, football finals. I don't know why. Maybe it's the audience. Not sure. Majority of EU countries, including France and Germany, want the European Commission to crack down on Hungary over Prime Minister Viktor Orban's plan to ban upcoming Pride celebrations in Budapest. So the EU is like, this is it, man. It's a bridge too far. You have to accept this stuff. And this is, to me, this is absurd for the EU to think that they can force this kind of stuff. This is very much like just, this is Marxism. We all know this is what they're doing, but we almost got stuck into this. Biden was trying to take us down this road, and to a large extent did, but we stopped. Dude, I don't know if you guys follow. Again, this is my favorite kind of racing. NASCAR is far more popular in this country, and that was really my first paid radio gigs was board op and NASCAR races. That said, I like the open wheel stuff. I just like it because it's like stupid fast, and these cars are just ridiculous. And so it's kind of wild and crazy. But this guy has a fire in pit lane. I don't know, a couple of these are pretty good. Let me see if I can play these because some of these got jacked up. Check this out. This is crazy.
Lowe's able to clear him. Rossi comes to pit lane. Terrible luck for Rossi, who was having a great day.
We're going to have to diagnose this. This is going to be a minute here. So we'll do a stop here, and we're going to have to take a look at it.
Kevin.
That's Tim Broyles talking to Alexander Rossi. Right before you guys noticed things, he said it's getting really loose. We're wondering, is this a gearbox issue? Remember, they lost some water during the final practice, and they've now just told him to shut it off and get a fire extinguisher out.
Yeah, they lost the water pump on carb day as there's tons
fire!
of fluid.
There's fire all over the car. Fuel had gone out.
Yeah, they got fuel all over the place on that one. And so the car was super hot and apparently caught fire from that. We got some other crazy stuff. This guy crashed, I want to say, into his own people. I had to open these separately because they stopped playing the other way.
And then finally, Schwartzman in too hot.
So it was rainy, I guess. But yeah, these guys literally just moved this car. But he hit his own people.
Yes,
wasn't going super fast, but probably injured. Nonetheless, I think we got a couple other crazy things here. Let's check this one out. What was this? Oh, and again, it was a lot of a lot of crazy weather. So this is the guy leaving and damn near caused a major accident just pulling out of pit lane.
Apart in that slow, kind of tentative start, but there's also sensors on these race cars. Very close call in pit lane.
And a horribly slow stop for Rob.
Yeah, none of that was good. So that was pretty wild. What else we got? We got, I think, one more. Which one is it? Viske spins out on pit lane. Yeah, this guy had no brakes. So he literally had to crash his car, basically, to survive pit lane. This is crazy. Check this out. I'll try to do it this way. Boom.
That was good to hear.
A spin in pit lane.
Oh,
we got a spin in pit lane.
There's a crash.
That's
into
VK.
the wall. That was good to hear.
A spin in pit lane.
Oh,
we got a spin in pit lane.
There's a crash.
That's
into
VK.
the wall. That's VK.
VK was coming into the pits. We talked about the alternate strategy. He was on a slightly different.
They literally had no brakes. So he had to crash his, he was coming in like at 140, 150, 60 miles an hour. Has to go down to 60 miles an hour. Yeah, so anyway, a lot of crazy shit happened on this particular race. I wasn't watching, but yeah, this is just crazy bunch of stuff. So anyway, just wild times, wild world, and weird stuff going on with some of these European sports. Craziness. All of us are getting a little edgy these days. Be careful, guys. There's a lot of weird stuff's happening. Be prepared. Make sure you can take care of yourself. Don't expect anyone to take care of you for you unless you've, you got some family members or whatever, or boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever, I'll scratch your eyes out, whatever. Sometimes you got the right girl, it happens. It happens. You date the right girl, little nutsy in the head, and she's killer in bed. You know how it goes. Come on now. Let's not talk crazy. Crazy's it's a state of mind is really what it is. All said, we got a lot going on, got a lot of great stuff going music-wise this weekend. I'm excited about. I got to record my voiceover stuff for the Law of One for Thursday, so somewhat excited, and at the same time, it's like an hour of work, so I got to get, and then editing. So anyway, I got to get that ball rolling. I love you guys. We got a long way to go and kind of reasonably short time to get there, and I think we're actually going to do that pace. Stay strong, guys. Be ready. Ripple. Help as many as you can. It's all we can do. You're not going to be able to help everybody. Help as many as you can. Do the best you can. It's all you can hope for. I love you guys. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.